Sensation Station Network. The world is changing. And we are change. Sensation Station Network. Radio of Thunder. You cannot let a fear of failure, or a fear of comparison, or a fear of judgment stop you from doing the right thing.
Let's talk about destiny. Destiny Talk. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-host, John Reed. We have some awesome guests in the house. We've got some of our, what I like to call, I'm getting all tongue-tied, is our Destiny Talk Live Trailblazers for 2018. We have two entrepreneurs here, serial entrepreneurs, that have been very successful at their journeys and their travels, and we're going to share that with you guys today, giving you some tips and some do's and don'ts that you should look out for as you're going into business, and just them giving you a little bit of history of how they started. But before we get into our great conversation, I always like to open up the show with shenanigans, just some things that are happening and going around. But today, I'm a little sad because of the shooting that happened in Florida, and we're not taking these kids and these people threats seriously. From my understanding and the research that I've been doing on this breaking news, this kid talked about he was going to kill somebody. He had problems.
Posted guns, knives.
Guns and everything, And then I wanted to know further how we were being affected here with this. Y'all, we're in February, getting ready to go out of February. There's already been 18 school shootings.
And they say that over the last 6 to 8 months, these last three shootings have been the most fatality run things. I mean, it's the most fatalities in the last 10 years.
And it's crazy to me that, and I was looking at some of the stuff people were putting out there. They're talking about ISIS and terrorism and stuff like that. Let me tell y'all something. This was a homegrown one. Violence like that does not have race involved. It crosses borders. You understand what I'm saying? Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Chinese, orange, green, whatever you call yourself for that day or today. It affects everybody. And to me, it's so sad. This kid is 19 years old, and you took out, 17 people that died? People. And I heard a few of the people that died were teachers that threw themselves in front of the fire to protect the students. And there was a lot of live feed going on when the shooting was happening.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And everything. And I want to stress to people, I understand that everybody wants to put stuff out on Facebook and stuff that's live. I get it. But sometimes, guys, we have to be very careful at what we're putting out, what we're sharing, and what we're doing, and we've got to come together and figure out what is the real problem. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to put it out there, since our administration has changed, we got a lot of bold folks running around.
And that's what, when I first heard this, I was like, how is the media going to spin this? But I'm thinking the administration has been critical in promoting this sort of thing, the attitudes that people have. Right. And now these attitudes over the last year and a half, they have a backbone, and
now they got a little bit of keyboard courage, all these little nonsense that you see coming out on the Facebook and everywhere else, telling people they need to go back to their country. We wish we could go back to lynching folks. Let me explain something to you guys. Y'all should be on the first boat out. And I'm not saying a race, you know who I'm talking about. You need to be on the first boat out, because how did you discover? Y'all been lied to all your lives, because how did you discover a country where people were already there?
So what happens is this domestic terrorism. The administration wants to point to foreigners, right?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. America it was built on foreign. Right. Everybody here is foreign except for the Native Americans.
Correct.
Okay, because this is their country. We stole it. Okay, that's all I'm just trying to say. And it's like, I'm going to do a show on this nonsense, that all this courage these folks are coming out. I just want y'all to understand, we're not the same people.
That's true.
It's a lot of stuff going on. But today, now that I got that off my chest, we're going to have a great show. Right. I'm going to introduce Wesley and Tenika Copeland to you. I was going to say Smith Copeland, but it's both ways. And they're going to talk to you about entrepreneurship and business. And if you want to join that conversation, when we come back, we're going to tell you how to be a part of the conversation and get some good information on that. Don't go anywhere, guys, because we're ready. We got some good stuff for you. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Text us with your shout-outs and requests to 678-613-5857. Radio, knock them down.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your girl, Cherry G, on Destiny Talk Live. We are today going to be talking to you about business and entrepreneurship. I have some great guests in the house, along with my co-host, John Reed. I've got Jay Wesley with 100 Proof. I've got Tenika Smith, Copeland, Copeland Smith. Is how you do it, or Smith Copeland?
That's like a
we gonna figure it out. You know, I want to just give her all kind of new names.
I was told to drop the Smith.
I know.
Because it's been 10 years now. So, girl, bye.
So we're going to introduce them to you and let them give you a little bit about what they do. But if you are looking and listening in and you want to be a part of the conversation, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section. We'll read it out on air, and then we'll answer it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to call or text, you could do 678-613-5857. We're going to open the show up with Tenika. Tenika, tell them a little bit about, and you guys, this lady is phenomenal. I call her my serial entrepreneur. She is also my shero. So I want you to tell them who you are and just give them a little snippet of what you do.
Okay, I am the money credit chick, and the name says it all. I inspire and help people get their credit together first and foremost. Also, to be able to purchase real estate. I'm a real estate broker as well as an insurance broker. So what I noticed is during a lot of conversations with clients, it always somehow went back to the lack thereof of credit. Mm-hmm. So because I have extensive experience in credit and love everything about showing people how credit is only a game. You can build wealth with it, but you just need to know how to play the game. So I help people build their personal credit as well as get their business in line. I've been an entrepreneur since maybe elementary school. I was a girl selling candies. Mm-hmm. Got bold, wanted to sell pickles, and got shut down.
You went over there and took the pickle game.
Right. But, it started there, humble beginnings. And I just love to inspire people and help them identify their innate abilities to be able to be a successful entrepreneur, because it's in us. We just have to tap into it.
I like that too. And guys, she's not only just a serial entrepreneur, but her kids. And we're going to get into that, how she got them started. And my man, Jay Wesley. Jay and I started this journey with doing the radio shows and everything together. We train together and we swap a lot. We share on shows. But I want Jay to tell us a little bit about who he is and what you do.
All right, thanks for having me. I'm Jay Wesley with Cocktail Chronicles, a multi-digital media publication to empower consumers on their beverage choices. And Cocktail Chronicles is made up of 7 different divisions, one being a marketing arm. We have 100 Proof Radio Show right here on the Sensation Station Network every Tuesday at 10 p.m., so be sure to tune in. And there are multiple other divisions, but my whole goal is to empower consumers to be responsible and navigate through different social environments with drinking.
And I really like the concept of that, because, I think if we have someone educating people on that, we would probably cut down on a lot of the alcohol issues we have with people drinking and driving and doing different things. And I like the concept of it too, because there's a lot of us out here that are just ignorant to the fact of alcohol. I love the shows you do. He talked about drinking and being in the pulpit. That was that was interesting.
Oh, wow.
And drinking and sex. So it's really good shows that he has out there.
I need to come on your show then.
All right. I was about to say, that sounds like some false courage.
But it is really.
They call me a wino.
Listen,
'Cause I like wine.
but he educates you on that. But my biggest thing with wanting these two here is because there's this myth out there that you have to have already have it to start out. And I know a little bit about how Tenika started. I know, her story alone, and we're going to have a show where we're going to talk about that itself. But I like the fact that they decided, I'm going to put this in my mind, I'm going to go do it, and they weren't afraid to do it. So my first question, Tenika, I have for you, what was it, and if you think back when you really first started, that I need to find something that I can do, whether I'm going to go to college or I'm not going to go to college, what was your starting point for you when you decided I'm going to be my own boss?
Okay, Cherry, I'm glad that you asked that question. I am a product of the Atlanta public school system. Back in 1989 is when and I'm telling my age, but they came up with, they incorporated the magnet program somewhere along the way. In 89, I attended Alonzo E. Krim Comprehensive High School, the School for Entrepreneurship. Once I was slated to go to Grady High because I went to Emmett Middle School. But once I found out what the word entrepreneurship meant at that point, I wanted to go because I knew that I'm like, okay, you work for yourself. I was one of those that didn't want people telling me what to do. So that just sounded like it fit. It was a good fit for me at the time. I'm like, okay, I want to be my own boss. And that's where the quest I can't say it started there because I was already selling candy in elementary school.
But it fostered it more.
Right. It just helped to foster it even more, and it just started from there. Now, I did want to go to college. However, at the age of 16, I became a teenage mom. So that's when it really, really, really got real for me. Okay. Because, of course, then everybody told you what you could not do. The best motivational speech I've ever heard spoken to me is when someone told me that I could not do something. And I'm going to say that again because people don't realize that. The best motivational speech you've ever heard is when someone told you that you can't do something. I absolutely hate the word can't. When you tell me that I can't, I like to show you better than I can tell you. You have to get quiet and not. People do a lot of this, especially now on social media, the false courage and all that. They like to talk. You have to show them.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I do. I like when people tell me no, you just have to flip it on. If you turn the word no around, it says on.
Yes,
so,
I like that.
You just have to change your mindset and how you do. But entrepreneurship, I would not trade it for the world. I've tried having a job because I felt like I wanted to know what it felt like.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work for me.
Yeah. Now, Jay, because we talk to our men, we got a lot of young men out there, and I know you have a background in communications and journalism. We got a lot of young men out there that feel like, hey, I don't have a way around. And you shared a little bit of your story of where you came from. You come from Chicago, correct?
West Side.
So can you give our listeners, especially our men that are listening, that are probably in that spot like, I can't get out or I don't know what to do? What was your starting point?
Right. Sometimes it's hard, and I started like Tenika as well, knocking on people's doors, asking if I can rake their leaves, can I shovel your snow, and I may have been as young as 7, 8, 9, 10 years old doing this. I come from an absenteeism home in a sense of my parents had been divorced by the time I was 3. My mom worked 12, 16 hours to make ends meet for us, so we really didn't get to see her. I was somewhat of a latchkey child, raising myself along with my brothers, and as a result, you learned to deliver. You learn to just make ends meet, and so some of that is within, as we just spoke about. And so to those young men out there, I would say believe in yourself. trust in yourself, and you have to want something, and you have to set a plan out to go out and retrieve it.
That I like that advice that you gave, but we're going to get a little bit more into it, because there are some people that have been in your situation that says, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. And I want to dig a little bit deeper in what you just shared, because I want our men to understand you can too change your circumstances and the situation that you're in. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com,
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He'd guide us to that ultimate victory. I'm Tony Dungy, and I am second. Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
You think you can do this to me? I'm the man up in this piece.
Sensation Station Network.
Uncle Dan? Mom? Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over. As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
we'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Sensation Station Network. Radio 2, Atlanta.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with our co-host, John Reed. Our guest in the house is Tenika. Look at me, y'all. You know what? It's going to be Ty, okay? I'm saying Ty. I mean, and I know her name. Wow. And Jay Wesley. We having a moment today. I want to give a big shout out to William Thomas, Andre Tate, Audrey Champer, and Lawrence Young. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're talking about entrepreneurship and business. And just before the break, Jay was talking about how, he was a latchkey kid, basically raised himself because his mom was working all the time. His their parents were divorced, but you just had that drive in you to do it. Now, my question before the break, and we were talking about it, we have young men out there who come from the same similar background that you have, but just see no way out.
Right.
And I know I could be a little critical because I'll use it like there's no excuse, because if you could do it, so could everybody else, but that's really false to say, huh?
Right. It is. Everyone isn't made from the same DNA, doesn't have that same drive, so some need that motivation and that encouragement from parents. I was a child where I was in gifted programs and skipped 7th grade. Parents did not have to look over homework. It was just done, did my duties of what I was supposed to do as a child. But everyone doesn't have that, or it doesn't come from that. And so it takes a little bit more. That's where the community have to get involved in helping to raise that child when they see them on the block doing something that they aren't supposed to do, whispering good things into their ear. It's where teachers become so involved and critical at, because teachers spend more time with children than actual parents in some cases. So what they say and how they inspire a child is truly, definitely important.
I like that, what you said. Back in the day, we were raised by our neighborhoods, because I can remember neighbors were allowed to discipline us if we didn't, we were acting out of line. But our communities now, I don't know if I would want that same embrace with my kids. But our young men that say, oh, I don't think I can do this, and I know you said they come from a different cloth. what would you suggest? I mean, would you say, hey, find a mentor, or if you really want to get out of this situation, I don't even know if do they still have the centers? I know when we were growing up, it was like the boys clubs,
lot of
AYAs,
them
and
still.
stuff like that. Yeah. So for our men, if you're encouraging a young man or a person that's out there, especially with the business you got, Cocktail Chronicles.
Right.
Okay.
This isn't my first business. I mean,
Okay.
I've owned multiple businesses that some have failed, some has been successful, but nonetheless, the main thing is I've opened them. They were successful in their own right and way. I've owned a bar, lounge, restaurant right here in Atlanta, Georgia, what was slated as the first organic bar in the nation, featured on CNN, Essence Magazine. However, I had to close that restaurant. So, I could look at it as a failure. I could look at it as success. But either way, I made it happen. And so I've owned a fashion company, a modeling company that is, a couple other things I can't even get into. But you just have to have the drive. You have to have the vision, because once you can visualize it and take it to paper, and then take from paper and execute,
right,
your success, whether it stays open one day, a week, a lifetime, you've taken the proper steps of making it happen.
Yeah, I always say nothing beats a failure but a try. So if you sit back and you dream and you don't do anything with your dream, you're not really doing any justice to yourself. And I like what you said. You failed a couple of times. And a lot of us will try stuff and it don't work out. We'll go in a corner and we don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
And there's 8 words that I used to tell these young men who had some qualms about starting a business. And I said, hey, if you ever tried before? You ever failed before? Try harder, fail harder. Because every failure will get you to your next yes.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and you were asking before about, how do these young men get started, or what kind of advice? I used to tell guys, I used to recruit for when I was in corporate America at my HBCUs. And one of the good things I used to tell people, even if entrepreneurship is not your path, then, get some education. It doesn't necessarily have to be college education, but get some education. And then that education, even if it's corporate, then you funnel your dreams by then you starting your entrepreneurship on the side. As long as it's set up properly, start it off on the side. But get a mentor, if you like. For instance, our fraternity has this thing called the Lead Foundation, and what they have young men from the ages of 12 to 18, and they speak to them about different things: entrepreneurship, college, corporate, going on college tours. So, if people are associated with fraternities, or there's fraternal organizations or sororities, sometimes they have programs that help you flesh out your dreams, if you will.
And now, what's your fraternity? Because you said our fraternity. So.
Alpha Phi Alpha
Okay,
fraternity.
I just want to make sure our viewers and our listeners had that.
06.
So I have Tanya Merrick's one of our listeners, and thank you, Tanya, for joining in. She said entrepreneurship is possible for everyone, but is not for everyone.
Right.
It is a heartfelt desire. You must try it. And she's correct, because everybody's not meant to be a boss.
That's true.
Because some of you guys just don't. It's just
don't work out.
Everybody thinks I'm own my own business, and I know, Tenika, you can speak from this, and we're going to come back with the women part, and then Jay, you too, and John, because you've owned your business. We'll get a logo, a tax ID. We in the house, and we have a quick little blog we're going to do on Facebook or whatever, and then we're expecting that money and that business to start flying through the doors.
Hey, and they call themselves CEO, right?
Right.
And they go by that title. But being a top dog doesn't mean that, you're just dictating. You got to get in the trenches.
You got to be in the trenches, and that's what you got to have, that drive and determination to make stuff happen. And I really am focusing on our men, because I need them to understand you don't have to be the underdog all the time. Just like Tenika was saying, and just like you said, for those of you gentlemen that don't have the college background or the skill set, I know a lot of people start lawn businesses.
Yep.
Right.
Go out there. You got to start stuff that sometimes people, the jobs that aren't so glorious to get to where you want to get to. But my thing is, put a plan out, start something, do something that's going to spark you into wanting to do better than what you are now, because you do not have to stay where you are. When we come back, we're going to talk to our women. We're going to talk to our super women. We're going to find out how we can help you get over some hurdles too. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Great leaders aren't born, They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Green light.
Hey, girl.
School zone.
I'm getting hungry.
Car changing lanes.
You want to meet me for pizza?
Stop sign. Intersection clear.
Yeah.
Street.
Pizza sounds good.
Ballin Street?
Girl in Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
If you're looking for that ratchet, you're in the wrong place. It's the nation's urban internet station, Sensation Station Network.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a place!
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. This is your girl, Cherry G. We are talking about business and entrepreneurship. I have two powerhouses in the house. I have Jay Wesley and I have Ty Copeland. We are talking about how they got started. Jay gave some great information for our men. Now, we're going to bring it back to Tenika so she can help our young ladies, because sometimes we get stuck and we don't know how we have to get through some things or what we're going to do. And I want to give a big shout out to Susie Jernigan Clark and Donna Griffin for listening. I truly appreciate you guys tuning in. So, Tenika, at the top of the hour, we were talking about what you did and how you got started into being an entrepreneur. And you said you wanted to go to college, but you found yourself as a mother at 16.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about when you became a mom, what really sparked you into say, hey, I gotta work to take care of my soon-to-be baby.
Cherry, it was just all of the things that I heard. You'll never amount to anything. You'll have baby after baby living in projects and be on welfare for the rest of your life. And,
wow.
You know, and I did. I mean, I did try the welfare thing, but $235 a month at the time for me and a kid just wasn't enough for me. So I used the words that was spoken into my life. And that's something that I teach people now. We have to be careful with this mouth right here, okay? Because we are responsible if we speak words into another person's life and it manifests, we are responsible for that. Because not everybody can handle rejection.
Right.
Not everybody can handle someone telling them you'll never amount to anything. Me, on the other hand, I took it and flipped it. You know,
right? You have
so
to.
You took the negative
and made it a positive.
I made it a positive. I didn't say anything. You know, it was just I had to learn and listen. Right. Okay, that's their perception of me and who they see. People can perceive things different. We can all be in a room and someone walk in and have a different perception of who we think that person that just walked in a room is.
And don't know anything about them.
And women have a very bad habit of that,
yes,
okay?
we do.
A lot of women lack self-esteem. So when they see someone like myself come in the room that have confidence.
Yeah, we share that problem. Because if you walk around and you're confident in who you are, you're either the B word or you think you all of that and who she thinks she is.
Yeah, who she thinks she is.
And it's really not that at all.
Correct,
you know?
correct.
Because they don't know your struggle. But you said something that when you said manifest and speak words, into people.
It's power in manifestation.
Right. It is. You have to be real careful at how you say that, because when you constantly dog someone out and they believe it, I think you're kind of responsible. But you said, and we share the same thing, because I was told the same thing.
Okay.
But it didn't faze me, because once you told me that, I was looking at you like, okay, you're gonna be looking at me in a few years telling me, oh, I wish I would have.
Right.
You know. So, but you did something that was even more profound, and I know a little bit, but you took that negative. You said, I'm gonna turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
And then what'd you do?
I'm a boss. No, but to be, I have a sense of humor, guys. So just, get over it. Don't take that too serious. But I just took it and made it do what it do. I didn't see myself in that light. I did not see myself as being a statistic, okay? I did not want to be that statistic. And because there were a lot of statistics that were going more negative, I wanted to show how we can flip this thing around and do something different. So I had to start telling myself, there's nothing wrong with looking at yourself in the mirror, speaking the words that you need to hear.
Exactly.
You have to do that. I heard so much to where I can't even imagine if I had took that stuff and let it impregnate me and delivered the baby that other people saw about me, I would be a hot mess.
Now, you see, those are some powerful words, because I want my young ladies to understand. Okay, she was a teenage mom at 16. But at 16, she tried the welfare. She said, I'm going to do that. But she did not let that define, dictate, or even what negativity was coming at her, say, hey, this is who I'm going to be. We're going to talk more about this for you guys, because I want our young ladies out there to know you can be the boss too. And she was the boss, because she ain't even got to the good part yet. She was the boss at 16, and I'm so proud of her. That's why she's on the show sharing her story.
You use Tearless baby shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bath water to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school? Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions? No. Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school? Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul. No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework. Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review? No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized. I think I understand. Oh, good. Finding best potatoes for French fries. No! Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold. Why don't you understand me? Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized, influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss, from the Macy's shopping party to the Ultimate Girls Night Turn-Up or the 13th Annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard and Henry Greer. Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D to this year's Donna Brazil, Jen Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power. Major key alert. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Deliberate dumbing down.
Dumb down society.
Deliberate dumbing down of America.
Dumb down public. Why would they do this?
Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. If you're just joining us, we are talking about entrepreneurship, having your own business, and doing things to make it better for you, being serial entrepreneurs. And if you're listening to us and you want to be a part of the conversation, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section. We'll read it out on air, and then we'll discuss it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to text or call in your comment, 678-613-5857. We have a comment from one of our listeners, William Thomas. He said, I really appreciate the inspiring statements by the young lady who did not conform to the words of her dictators, but chose to transform into what she believes she could become. Words may hurt, but perseverance overcomes it all. And that is so true. Thank you so much, William, for that. Now, when we were off of the air, I had some questions I wanted to ask. You know, because both of you said something that was pretty profound. You both came from areas and in backgrounds that weren't so favorable. You know, you could easily have fallen into a statistic. Okay, so the question I have, and I'll start with William. Listen, William, I'll start with Jay.
Well, I have a confession. I sold drugs too, but that's a whole nother.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that. But
It's
see,
a hustle game.
Yeah,
Gotta get the hustle game on.
But it was a lesson in that.
Yeah, that
right. There was a lesson in it. That's why I brought that up.
Okay, so but with Jay, I'm gonna ask you this question first, because you were in that negative environment, and everybody around you seemed broken. How did you survive that? I mean, because if you're broken, they're broken. Who's going to be able to help you?
Right. It's definitely difficult. I always tell myself I could be so much greater if I had all of the right tools in place, the right family dynamics, you know, fostering my development, nurturing, believing in me. And then the other part of it too is when you become an adult, you get broken. I mean, when I lost my business, I lost probably over $150,000-$200,000 into a bar. As a result, you know, it left me broken. I jumped up, left Atlanta, and I had to recoup myself mentally, physically, financially, still recovering from it as a result. But you just have to push through it. You have to believe in yourself, even when no one else does. Because if you don't then believe in yourself, can't nobody else believe in you. And that's what's going to draw team members to be part of your dream, is because they're feeding off of your passion, your light, your enthusiasm.
I like that. And then we're going to touch a little bit more on teamwork too, because that's key. But you got to be able to know how to decipher who's the right person for your team.
And prayer is and believing in God is ultimately the most important thing that will keep you through. Even as a child, being alone a lot, I went to church by myself. I mean, my church was probably a half a mile away in the hood, but at 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, this little boy walked himself to church because I didn't know what I was getting, but I knew I was getting something that I needed, and it manifests out of me today.
And, you know, and I like to make this disclaimer to all of my viewers and listeners that are out there listening. I know some of you are not religious based and you don't believe in a higher power, God, or whatever your beliefs are. These things that we're sharing with you still apply to you, no matter what your religious background is. They're just talking, and we talk about our faith, what we believe in, but it's all the same thing. It takes work, dedication, and belief in yourself to move on to the next level. So I like to always throw that disclaimer. But Tenika, just like with Jay, that I was asking him, with the negativity in the environment you came around you, it seems just from the little bit you shared, you had a whole lot of broken folks around you.
I did.
How did you push through that broken piece to say, hey, as a young woman, as a kid, now a mother, to just say, hey, not I'm not going to be that number?
It was the word no. I did not like the word no. And a lot of times when I went to my parents and asked for things, it was always no. My dad, one of his favorite sayings was, "Who do you think we are, the Rockefellers?" At that time, we didn't have the internet to go and research who the Rockefellers was, but I kept asking people, who are the Rockefellers? And it got to a point, especially once I became a teenager, to where, I wanted to really figure out who the Rockefellers was, and, got rebellious. I wish I had other parents. I came from the household of, if the phone rang, it was the bill collector, tell them I'm not here, which drove that passion that I have now for finance, credit, building wealth, because I came on one side, my mom did not handle finances well. She did the best that she could, being a single mother of 3 children, because I came from a situation where our household was broken. On the other hand, my dad was an entrepreneur. Back in the 70s, he owned his own 18-wheeler, and he was a truck driver. So I mentioned earlier how we have to tap into our innate abilities. Look through your bloodline. Ask questions about the people that you belong to.
Right.
Not all of it is brokenness. There was some brokenness there within my family, as to everybody's family. But at the same time, you have to dig deep into that stuff. If you like doing certain things,
you have to
ask
figure it out.
questions about grandma and them, and figure out what it is that you have.
Exactly. One of our listeners, Audrey Champer, says, the love of yourself and making it out has to be greater than staying and compromising. And that is so true. You got to believe in you no matter what anybody else thinks of you or what everybody else is feeling. It's all ultimately up to you on what destiny or what journey, on what legacy you leave.
That's right.
Vince Lombardi once said that it's hard to be aggressive when you're confused. Some of us think that taking our lives to the next level, both personally and professionally, is a confusing and complicated process. Guess what? It's not, and I can prove it. My book, Truisms, will show you how living your life by rules that are so self-evident and obvious, you'll say, I knew that. This powerful yet short, detailed bestseller is on sale right now, under $10. Go to michaelmcfadden.com. That's michaelmcfadden.com, and let Truisms help you to the next level.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through, like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He guides us to that ultimate victory. I'm Tony Dungy, and I am second.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. This is the part of the show that we send out our prayers for our families and our listeners that are out there that need just some spiritual and mental support. So I want to start out first by giving a prayer to all of those families that were affected by the shooting out in Florida, the high school out there, to everyone that lost loved ones or lost friends or were injured. Even, and I know this is going to sound crazy, I want to pray for the shooter itself, because there's something going on there, and, we all don't, instead of running and doing hate, we need to pray for him and his family and everything, because there was no winners yesterday in that shooting. I also want to send a prayer request out to our homeboys, Mayor of Tangelo Park, our home, my neighborhood where I grew up in, Carl and David Latimer. Their mother passed away, and our hearts are out there, and we feel for you, and we want to make sure everybody please pray for peace for them. Also, Edwina Harris, her son was killed the other day, and she is a friend of mine and someone that I knew from Brian Alford out of New Jersey. It's his cousin. So I want to make sure that we pray for her because that is such a tough time to lose a child. And also Amy Salabas, her grandmother is really sick, and she's asking for everyone to pray for her grandmother. And I want to give a big, warm, heartfelt and hug to the Aaron Feast family. That is the coach that stood in front of the shooter yesterday and took several bullets to save a lot of kids. Everybody out there that's going through some things right now, we just want to let you know we are here for you, and we're praying that God gives you peace and grants you comfort during this difficult time.
Uncle Dan? Mom? Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over. As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-host, John Reed, and my special guests in the house, Tenika Copeland and Jay Wesley. We're talking about business and entrepreneurship, how you too can leave a legacy and build something better for your life. If you are listening to us on Facebook and you want to be a part of the conversation, please go ahead and type your comment in the comment section. We'll read it out on air, and then we'll discuss it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn and you want to text or call your comments in, it's 678-613-5857. Now, this is the part where we get to talk about a lot of stuff. We can break it down, not just for men, women, but children as well, and encourage everybody to look at what is it in your life that you need to do to change to make things happen for you. I mean, Jay has talked about it. Tenika has talked about it. They both came from the not so ideal situation. Not both parents were in the home, and for the most part, they were out doing things for themselves. But look, guys, they're very successful. Successful in failure, successful in trying. And what I mean by successful in failure is that just because something didn't work, they didn't stay there and say, oh, it didn't work, and didn't try anything else. So that's what I mean by that. But John, you had some questions you wanted for them.
During the break, we talked about how teamwork is very critical and important. We talked, and I say that because any entrepreneur, small business has to have partners, if you will, team members, to be successful. And I gave the example of how, what was it, 8 years ago, that I know that I have a particular set of skills, but I know what I can't do right. And one of the things with marketing and branding, that's where you came in and say, listen, John, I know that, let me help you out. So we work together as a team to get it done. So I want to ask you guys the question, what is your viewpoint on creating a team, fostering a team, getting rid of team members? We talked about the negative to get to, but let's talk about something positive like working with a team. So I'll start with ladies first.
Working with a team and having a team is very, very important because we have, like I said again, we all have certain skill sets that are just in us to be able to do. I am an analytical and researcher. I know how to find the information. If it's in a ditch somewhere, trust me, I'll get it. I had to learn very early that in order for me to be successful, I had to incorporate the knowledge of other people who might have done the things that I've done. You can't be afraid to ask questions.
Right.
The worst thing somebody can do is, just either blow you off, ignore you, or say no. But either way, you're still living. And you touched on, we talked about failure. In order to succeed, you have to fail first.
Right.
And that's one of the problems that a lot of people who start businesses, they have a problem with failing. But once you get to the point to where you can accept, understand, and feel real sexy about failing, you will be very, very successful.
You know, she said feel real sexy about failing. I don't know if people going to be running around here like I'm sexy because I failed. But, Victoria DeBose, one of our listeners, thank you, Victoria, for tuning in. She says particular set of skills. That is true. You got to have that.
That's
You gotta have it.
that's an inside joke right there.
But it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, but she's right. You
Oh,
do
yeah.
have to have a particular set of skills.
I just watched that movie Taken, and the star always says, "I have a particular set of skills."
Yeah.
So then I use that now to say, "Hey, listen, I have a particular set of skills."
Right.
So for me, you definitely need a team behind you because one thing I've learned is that you cannot do anything by yourself.
Right.
You have to have help, and people have to trust you.
Right.
In all of the organizations that I've owned over the years, I've had for people to work for me for free. Because they believed in me, they trusted me. And all the time, they may not even believe in the vision or see the vision, although that helps and that goes a long way. But if people believe you, they'll do a lot of different things to help you move forward and reach your dream. As far as keeping that team in place, sometimes becomes challenging.
Right.
And so I have fired friends, family members, but one thing that keeps my integrity in place with those people that I've even fired is my level of professionalism.
Right.
So I manage them in a very professional way, and I try to do everything professionally, whether we're friends or not. Everything comes off very professional, so that they feel. And then the other thing is making them feel valuable, and making them feel part of the team, letting them have decision-making roles in the organization.
Right.
And like you said, teamwork is really good in having them a part of the team. But sometimes you have those team members. Yeah.
You gotta get rid of them. Like he mentioned firing them. I'll tell you a story. So I do real estate also. I do real estate investing. I teach people how to invest in real estate. So when I got started back in 94, 95 in the Atlanta area, my sister and her fiance, he was a contractor. So I said, well, listen, if I'm buying a house and rehabbing it, I'm gonna let you guys fix it, right? So they worked a couple of houses, they did it. And then I bought a house that was burned out, and they fixed it. They rehabbed the whole inside, but didn't get any permits pulled. So when the city came in and looked at it, they was like, you got to take everything down. And so I told my sister and her boyfriend, y'all should have known that you got to pull the permits on a house that had been, had fire damage. I'm saying, y'all fired. Y'all messing with my money. Now none of us can eat now. So I understand the concept of sometimes firing some family members.
And it's not always easy to do, but you just have to handle it gracefully, professionally, and hopefully try to move past it, to maintain some type of relationship with them if they were important to you before the business.
Yeah, and one of our listeners, Audrey, says, exactly, failure is a part of the reality of success. Sometimes people fight so hard not to fail that they miss the learning experience that failure teaches, and that is so true because, I could tell you, and Tenika and I go back a little bit working and doing stuff. And I have to tell you guys that she's my little shero and my champion because I was working in that kind of a situation where I should have been gone a long time ago.
Yes, Lord.
But she hung in there and she's like, okay, when she get tired of sick and tired of being sick and tired, she's going to do what she has to do because I know what my skill set is and I know what my worth is.
And you had to make an executive
decision. And I had to
decision.
make a decision. And sometimes people are just in your life for a season. And there are people that, you go out, I'm going to say this, you can't help everybody.
That's right.
You can't help everybody. I know the two of you, and let's start with you because I know I've seen some things that you've been working on. You had people that were gung-ho, but then they got jealous because they started seeing things happen for you.
Yeah.
And I know that was a kind of tough because I know who you are. I know how you pour and invest in people. How did you handle, or how would you handle that, or tell someone to handle, give advice to someone who's going through something like that right now?
The best advice that I can give is decrease yourself, which is something that I always do. I decrease me so I can influence and pour into you to where you'll get increase. Now, if you turn around and mess on me, my blessings are still going to come. But if I do what's right, and if I treat you with love and kindness, then guess what? I wish you the best, because it's just not a good fit. And sometimes we have to know that. And I can be a little guarded, but then I can be very open. And that's where that discernment comes in. And I pray about everything. If I have people in my life that I want to pour into, I have to make sure, because I've been used before. I'm by nature a giver.
Yes.
You know,
I got that
and
problem.
I've been used before. So now I have to pray and make sure that I know that the person that I'm trying to pour into is the person that should be receiving it, if that makes sense.
It makes a whole lot of sense. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more, because Jay, I want to ask you that same question, and then I'm going to read a comment when we come back with one of our guests have typed in, because what she said is really profound also, because I want you guys to understand this whole business and entrepreneurship stuff is serious.
Great leaders aren't born, they're made. And not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
No word in English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably?
It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober.
Yeah, I'm probably okay. Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda. That's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The world is changing.
And we are change. Sensation Station Network. Radio of Dumbo.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. If you're just joining us, we are talking about entrepreneurship, the do's and don'ts, and how you too can be a serial entrepreneur and do something better for your lives. We have Ty Copeland in the house, as well as Jay Wesley, and we've had some great conversation. Before I get to Jay to answer that question about teamwork, one of our listeners, Tanya Merrick, says, as an HR professional and life coach, I can share that sometimes the best thing you can do is let someone go whose skill set does not align with the job that they are not excelling at their current work. Learn to look at letting people go as freeing them up for the opportunity that is better for them. And that's right. You have to. You gotta let it. I like that spin though. Oh, this ain't gonna work out for you, so I need to let you go to do find what's good for you. And I want to give a big shout out to Don Heron and as well as Deanna Cuervo for tuning in. So Jay, let me ask you this: you have teamwork, team people around, and there's just that one.
Right.
That
Or
you
two.
knew, or two, that you know is just got that knife just ready. They're not really there for you. What do you do about that? What type of encouragement or advice would you give to someone that's in that position?
Right. So one of my degrees is actually having a master's in human resources, and I'm not sure if it's prepared me when I'm dealing with real life situations. However, one thing I did learn in school is to try to coach people up versus my mentality was coaching them right out the door. So you try to find out what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and as the HR lady just mentioned, align their job responsibilities with their strengths. Set out goals and expectations in writing with timelines attached with them. And in that sense, you're giving them the rope to hang themselves.
I always
Because
say
if you
that.
don't meet the deadline, if you're not meeting the expectations, it's been spelled out, it's been written out, it's been told to you. So at that point, we have to have a conversation of how the best way for us to move forward, and it could be just letting you go.
You know, I always say I always give you the rope. I'm gonna let you do with it what you want to. You can tie a bow with it. You can jump rope with it. You can swing from it, or you can hang yourself with it. It's really up to you. I'm giving it to you to tell me how you want to work with that.
Right. But Cherry, one thing that it bothers me the most is that people do not take responsibility. I could handle if someone told me, you know what, I apologize, I didn't do that, or I know I didn't reach the goal, but I really want to achieve it, or I want to be part of this organization. I'm going to get better. That rarely happens. Right. What most people do, in my experience of years of owning businesses, is whether I'm paying you or not, to me it's the same, is they flip it off on you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you didn't do this, or you didn't do that, or you didn't tell me this, you didn't tell me that.
Right.
So I've learned that if it's not in writing, it haven't been said, because that prevent them from saying that.
You know, and Tanya also said, yes, you got to hold people accountable. You definitely have to hold them accountable. You have to make people take ownership of who they are and their nonsenses and their mess. Now, what about, let's do this. What about these people that you got that you know are just out there? They're in your face, they're smiling, but as soon as you walk out that door, they got a whole lot of other conversation. They're trying to tear down everything that you're building and coming behind you and tearing it down.
That's where the dichotomy comes in. He's made a good point about coaching up. Here's the difference between corporate America and entrepreneurs. In corporate America, what I learned is you sometimes teach them some skills, right, to get them to be a little bit better than they think they can be. As an entrepreneur, sometimes you don't have that time to do it, because you reading deadlines, you got mouths to feed. You don't have time to coach them up, right? So that's one of the dichotomies between the two. And then if you find out that the person that is on this probationary period, if you will, is saying things behind your back, it'll come out eventually.
Oh yeah, it definitely will.
Everything in the light in the dark comes to the light. So then you sometimes you may not have to have the conversation. You just have to cut your ties.
You know, and I'm gonna tell people this. I always say it, and we'll come back and get your guys' opinion on it. Is that you ain't here to be everybody's friend. Everybody ain't your friend, and everybody is not supposed to be in business with you, and it's okay.
Yep.
It really is okay. You know, wish them the best. Don't talk down to them, but wish them the best to go ahead and get that, whatever it is that they need to get in life. Because I promise you, you'll be a whole lot better once you do that. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
You think you can do this to me? I'm the man up in this piece.
Sensation Station Network.
You cannot let a fear of failure, or a fear of comparison, or a fear of judgment stop you from doing what it is.
Let's talk about destiny. Destiny Talk.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-host, John Reed. We are talking with Jay Wesley and Ty Copeland. We're talking about entrepreneurship and businesses, the do's and don'ts, the pain of discipline, or the pain of regret. If you are listening to the conversation and you want to be a part of it, go ahead and type your comments in the comment section. We'll read it out on air, and then we'll talk about it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to call or text in your comment, 678-613-5857. Now, we are making it back, a full circle back around to our men. This part, we talk about a man's worth, and it's really important to me that on this part or this segment of the show, that we encourage our men out there to be the best that they can be. No matter what your situation is or what's facing you, find a way to maneuver through it legally, and that you are taking care of yourself. The first thing and foremost, the most important is being able to handle yourself, because if you can't take care of you, you can't take care of anything else. And you said something earlier in the show about how you had to take care of yourself and you just had that drive. I mean, you didn't have both parents in the home. So I'm repeating that because you didn't use that as an excuse to be on drugs, to not work, to sell drugs, to be gangbanging, or doing any of that other stuff. And you grew up
But
on
it could have easily
I was getting ready to say, because you were
for me to do so, because I do have other siblings that did go
those
down
things.
those paths.
Right, and I was going to say that because you grew up on a tough side of Chicago, right?
Yep.
All right, so I wanted to mention that, though, because I hear so many people say it all the time that, oh, I had to because this is where I grew up and I didn't have a way out. But you made it out.
Right. Yeah, and it wasn't. I mean, I did, and it wasn't so easy because growing up in the hood, it's not cool to be smart. So here I was. I couldn't be happy or brag or tell anyone that I was in gifted programs or skipped the 7th grade. It was nothing that was celebrated because if anything, you get picked on,
beat up,
talked about. So you try to fit in as normal as possible, even dumbing yourself down a little bit to your peers, even at a young age, just to fit in. So it's definitely not easy. So I see, not that I agree with it, but I see and understand where people fall down that rabbit hole. You just have to want better for yourself.
And and I don't want anybody to think I'm just saying that everybody has to be, because everybody is different. Everybody has those different type of personalities. What I'm saying is I wanted to encourage the men because they too can come out of those tough situations.
Right.
You just got to dig
It's
deep.
possible.
Yes, you got to dig deep in yourself and say, hey, I am going to do something different.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be that number, and I'm not going to be what society has dictated for me to be.
Yep.
You guys, you're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
If you're a single man under the age of 35, you'd probably like to know what the ladies are looking for on an online dating site. A guy who had a few drinks and later got pulled over for buzzed driving. See, that could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And doesn't a guy who's back living with his parents but calls them my roommates just scream Mr. Right?
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. If you're just joining us, we're talking about business and entrepreneurship, what that is, what it means, and how you can determine if you are a owner of a business, an entrepreneur, or you are a person that works for the entrepreneur. If you want to be a part of the conversation, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section. We'll read it out on air and discuss it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio, you can text or call your comments in to 678-613-5857. And I want to give a big shout out to Ter Bear, who has joined us, and he has said, in the place to be, what's the top of today? I got he's telling me he has a break and chicken and baby chicken or something. I have no idea. He's on lunch break. Is that what he said? Okay, so Ted, you got me on that one because I thought you really had a question. But it's okay. We're talking about business and entrepreneurship. So let's get back to the men, and then I want to have you come in on something, Tenika. But you said something that was really, when we were on break, we were talking about, again, team and men and stuff. Have you been in a situation where you've had males on your team that instead of looking at how partnership with you and the business is going can be a benefit to both of you too, they're now jealous that it just seems like it's all focused on you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting mix. You just don't know how to deal with it. You try to create a family environment by bringing people in to some decision-making part of the process. Everybody wants to be the boss, but they don't want to pay to be the boss, because it pays to be the boss. You know, when I owned the restaurant, I had $5,000 worth a month in rent, lights, you know, you name it, the products. But everyone wants to tell me, employee-wise, how I should run the restaurant and what needs to be done, but no one wants to pay the bills. So it's an interesting dynamic when you have people that's poking daggers in your back or holes in the boat, using the example I gave earlier, helping us to sink. But you have to find out who they are, and one of the best things I've learned is try to let people go quickly. Yeah. Because you will see it very early on. It's best to let it go when you get that gut feeling.
You know, some of us are out of fear will stay, or will stay in an environment, and I can honestly say for me it was lazy, complacent, and fear. But you have to really push yourself forward. And then for our men that are out there, and I know a lot of, because both of you are entrepreneurs, and both of you have that drive and determination, and you're alphas, and I know you guys have a mentoring thing that you guys do. What are some of the things that you let our young men know that you're talking to or mentor about owning business or just being a man and stepping out and doing what you got to do?
You know, one of the things that I tell entrepreneurs is, one of the mistakes you make is not being in a mastermind group. What that means is this: you want to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, right? If you're the smartest one in the room,
there's something wrong.
There's something wrong, right? And it just depends on the industry, what your service you're selling. But if you have team members, right, they have their skill sets, but you want to make sure that these people are smart enough where you can learn something from them as they learn something from you. But men sometimes have that pride, that ego, and they don't want to learn because we think we know it all. And so a lot of times I find myself working more with women on my team because, you know, they PhDs and MBAs and, you know, they have skill sets that I don't have, and they can open doors that I don't have. But then I have other skill sets that I can lead, you know, I can lead effectively because I've surrounded myself by smarter people.
Right. No, and you touched on a couple of great things. I do find it easier to work with women. Men, particularly black men, I find, I'm probably going to get myself in trouble, can be difficult to work with. But let me explain why. Most African-American men come from fatherless homes. So as a result, to have another man telling them what to do or how to do something, no matter how you put it, is not received well. And so there's always a pushback or a challenge. So that's something that I teach as well. I find in my students, I find in the workplace of having managed people from a corporate capacity or even from an entrepreneurial capacity. And then you said something else that was very key is from the mastermind piece. I've been told that if there's 10 people that you surround yourself with, whatever the average income is, you're probably going to be no more than $10,000 away from the people around you. So to your point, you should hang around people that make money, that got money, because that's going to inspire you unconsciously to do better and to make money, to get in that financial.
And you learn something from them. Right? If you're surrounded by millionaires or, you know, people very successful, you ask the question, how did you get there? What did you do? What was your work ethic? How did you start your business? because they are successful.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. You got the young man that's in the hood that doesn't have the college education, but they want to step out. How do they meet entrepreneurs like that?
Well,
How
you
do
don't
they
have
meet
to.
business?
You don't have to go to college to be rich.
Well, no,
And
that's
so-
what I'm saying.
Right.
Tell them, how do I get to a mentor that is a business that will talk to me, this dude from the hood that just only will have a high school education?
Well, let's use the example you gave earlier about starting a lawn business. And that's the skill set that you have. You speak with other individuals who are successful lawn companies. You may do an internship with them for a little while, or you may know your uncle who was an air conditioning repairman, right? And he shows you how to do it. So you're starting to learn a trade or a skill. You don't have to go to college to do that, but it's also the same concept. Introduce yourself to people in those businesses, and then have the courage enough to go up to them and say, "Hey, listen, how did you get there? Let me learn from you." So
But don't expect them to do
Right,
it. I take on mentees all the time. Don't expect me to write the business plan for you.
Right,
Don't
right.
expect for me to do the job for you. As long as you're willing to, I see you taking action, going out there trying to get the knowledge, I'll assist you and foster your development any way that I can, except for doing the job myself.
Right, and that's a key thing that you said. You got this entrepreneurship stuff is some work. It's a dirty business, and what I mean by that is you got to get in, roll your sleeves up, and be in the trenches. Sometimes you're gonna have the bruises on the knees and the snot coming out the nose, and what that means is you got to work for it.
Get ready. Playing the best R&B and some hip-hop on Sensation Station Network. Sensation Station Network.
Radio, knock them down. JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And lead the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it. So make it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. If you are just joining us, we're talking about entrepreneurship and business, being a business owner or someone who works for the business owner. We've got great guests in the house, Ty Copeland, Ty Smith Copeland. Just Ty. Just Ty, y'all. Just Ty. You would think I would know her name after 15 years. And then we got Jay Wesley. We're talking about the things that helped them as they came through their entrepreneurship journey, the do's and don'ts, the falls, and the things that they learned that, hey, I might not need to do this. So we talked to Jay, and he gave us some great stuff for our men. Now I'm going to swing it back over here to Ty, and we're going to talk about these ladies. So if you missed the first hour, I'm going to do a quick recap. You talked about how you were a mom at 16. You were told you ain't going to be nothing, ain't going to amount to nothing. And then when I tell you the lady is the boss, this young lady is the boss, I mean, she's a serial entrepreneur. She's went through some things, and I can attest it because I've witnessed some of the stuff that she had firsthand. And I mean, let me tell you, she inspires me daily. So, Tenika, let's go back to 16 baby now. You're in the school for entrepreneurship. What next?
I just had to make my own way. At that moment, I had a whole person that I was responsible for. And as a lot of people have told me that I have an old soul. So for me, that was a big responsibility, because that was something that I didn't want to be recreated again. So that was the drive that kept me going each and every day. I had a person that I was responsible for, and I knew how to pray. Jay talked about going to church. The church bus had to come and pick me up because my mom worked on Sundays. One thing that I do know is I knew how to pray. If I didn't know but two prayers to pray, two quotes of scriptures out the Bible to recite, that was the Lord's Prayer and Psalms, the book of Psalms. I was going to say,
everybody know a book of Psalms.
So with that being said, it wasn't magic. It wasn't anything different that anybody can do for themselves. It was just that determination. But what fueled me most, and it might sound crazy, is the fact that so many people told me that I wouldn't be anything. And reading statistically, I saw that that was really the path that was set before me if I believed it.
Right. The key thing is that you didn't believe it. And then everybody, we want to make sure our young ladies out there understand, okay, so if you're in a situation where you're a teenage mom or you were a teenage mom, you don't have to fall into societal norms.
That's right.
You have different things that you could do, and there's so many much more skills and avenues for you out there than what was for us when we were growing up. But you also said something before in the first hour that you didn't always make the right decisions. You always did some stuff. So you didn't just go with, I got a baby, entrepreneur, bam, I'm going to be perfect.
No, I got involved with some of the bad guys. Good girls like bad boys. And my 23-year-old father is doing life in 40 years now in prison for murder. He was the bad boys. We used to call them hot boys. Because I was an entrepreneur and, I used to do hair, I was a hairstylist, I was accustomed to making money and making a certain type of money. For me, it was very simple. 1 + 1 = 2. I had $1, and this is how I literally got started. As a kid, went to Kroger. They had candy bars on sale, 4 for $1. I bought 4 of them, made 50 cents each out of them, and asked to go back. Hey, can you stop me back by Kroger? And I learned that very early, that 1 + 1 = 2, which they teach us in grade school. In the rap song, I take the bag, flip it, and tumble it. So that's what I did. I learned very early how to say 1 + 1 = 2. Even when I was working back in my youth, as a teenager, I took my paycheck on Friday and flipped it. Which that's where the drugs came in at, because that wasn't enough for me. How can I get this to be more than what it is? And I learned that was that entrepreneur side of me, and I had to go another direction with it. I didn't stay in it very long, but I knew that it was dangerous for me because I like money. And then I also had a way with people. I knew how to talk to people, and I knew how to talk to the right people. It wasn't the people at the bottom. I mean, when I sold drugs, it was in Techwood Homes back, when by Georgia Tech. That area has totally changed now, but I had friends who were on the Red Dog unit. I had friends who were actual sergeants and lieutenants. So right to this day, they never knew that I was that chick, doing some of the things that they were trying to keep off the street. But I used the skills that I had to be able to talk to people and, get what I want. And they never knew. But I got out of it, thank God. I realized that was very damaging. At the time, it's not something I'm glorifying, but you have to be able to take responsibility for your stuff. And when my daughter's father went to prison, I knew that lifestyle was no longer for me as far as being connected with those type of people. So you have to center yourself around people who are going to add to you. And it's just so crazy because just today I posted a post on my social media talking about that. People are either going to do one or two things. They're going to either add to you or take away.
And that's
Okay?
and that's so true.
It's just period and point blank.
There's
That
no in
lifestyle
between.
took away from me. It took away from the person that I was to become, but at the same time, it kind of added to me because now I can talk about it and I can relate to so many different people. They might see me and think and assume different things and perceive different things about me, but it's totally opposite, and that's what it's about. I'm not ashamed anymore of telling people my story and who I am because I can help someone else along the way.
And I like that you the first thing to a business and entrepreneurship and knowing, you got to know who you are. You got to accept your past. Don't live in it. Accept it and move on, because your past is your past and it may help someone else through the next phase in life. And no, but by no means are we saying anything that they're talking about was an easy journey, because it hasn't been. But don't go anywhere, guys, because we got some more information for you. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
You use Tearless baby shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. That's safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me, whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day. I want to be a football stadium. I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Hey, welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. This is the part of the show that we like to give a big shout out to all of our birthday babies out there. Whoop, whoop. We hope you're having a great day. So happy birthday, Dwayne Cobbs, Warren Rutland, Ted Sony, Tracy Robinson Bing, Tabitha Longshore Peterson, Ann Stunna, and Paul J. Bryan. And anybody that we have missed, if you're celebrating a birthday, happy birthday out there to you from Destiny Talk Live.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-host, John Reed. We are talking to Tenika Copeland and Jay Wesley about business and entrepreneurship, their journeys, their mistakes they made, how they recovered from them, and some tips and stuff on how you, too, can change your situation and the dynamics you live in. If you are listening to us on Facebook and you want to be a part of the conversation, please go ahead and type your comment in the comment section, and we'll read it out on air and discuss it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to be a part of the conversation, text or call your comment in to 678-613-5857. John, you have some...
And thank you, listeners, for making comments. Ted Bear says, so true on that topic earlier. I didn't go to college, but I learned to be an on-field certified concrete tester. And my friend said, as long as you understand and make concrete decisions, you will be successful no matter what. Audrey says, amen, sis. You have to acknowledge all of you.
Okay, and then I wanted to say when we're talking about this, because like I said, it's a myth that when you become an entrepreneur, that everything is easy. You said, hey, I had to own up to my mistakes and my mess, and I had to learn that this particular lifestyle, the skill of, I want that fast microwave money. But in actuality, it wasn't fast microwave money. It was dangerous money.
Right. Right.
And you didn't only put yourself in danger, but you put your child in danger and everything else. So you realize, like, hey, this ain't what I need in my life, and you changed it around. Guys, this young lady does hair. She has a shop. She does insurance. She does real estate. She does credit repair. She even had clothing line. And what I love, all her kids are entrepreneurs in their own right. Every last even down to the baby. She got a radio show. I mean, a podcast. I love it. And built a little studio and everything. I'm like, go ahead, baby, do your thing.
But they learn from their example.
But they're learning from the example. Right.
So we talked over the last few months about how we learn from our environment that we're in, be it positive or negative. So if you see your parent doing something that is positive or either negative, you're going to learn from that, and that's going to be in your brain.
Yeah, that's going to be,
Yeah, my father was a school teacher. My father and mother were school teachers. But on the side, he had a restaurant. Then he did all that MLM stuff. So he always said you have to have multiple streams of income. So that's all I see when I'm growing up, right? So I'm thinking that's the norm. But what if it was entirely different?
Right.
And all I'm seeing is negativity. Then guess what? I'm going to learn the negativity.
Right. So that's why I'm pointing at you, Jay, because you had every negative aspect pointing at you. You were a smart guy. You had to act like you weren't smart in some occasions, but you didn't let that keep you from excelling. I don't even know where to begin with that.
Right, and I can tell you so much more. So that doesn't even touch the icing. That's not even icing on the cake for it all. But nonetheless, you just have to believe in yourself. You just have to. You just really, and you have to want something out of life. And I think I've always desired that. One thing I can say with my family is that they always knew I would be somebody. I was the one in the family that they would say, he's going to be somebody. But I think the difference is there wasn't action behind their words to foster.
That was deep. You said action behind the words.
Right.
That is so powerful. And listeners, when you don't have action or you don't have that support, you got to find it within yourself. And Tenika, you talked about that a little bit because, I'm sure when everybody saw you with the baby daddy and you doing that, they were riding with you. But when he went down, I bet you they were looking at you sideways.
What is she gonna do now? What's next? But because I was my own, doing my own thing. As far as an entrepreneur, even dating, my business, my children came first, then my business, and then you have to just get in where you fit in. And my husband would tell you that. But we have to, that's powerful being able to have people to speak that, because now I'm programming my 9-year-old, well, sweetheart, I need you to read for 20 minutes, because one day you're going to have to run mommy's company, and I need you to be able to read and understand. And I don't just let her read books. I have her to read maybe an email, and, what do you think about that? So we have to train them early to have the conversations, because it, make their mind think and expand a little bit different. The books, to me, are good, but let me let you read this email and tell me what it's saying.
Situation. and trust me, guys, I've seen her do it. I'm so impressed every time I see her kids, because they come up with stuff, and I be like, what are they doing now?
Right.
I mean, at one point they were selling, do they still sell the bedazzled shoes and hats and belts?
Oh, yeah, that was Taylor when she was 9. She made shoes with stones and stuff. A lot of things
She's
that
creating entrepreneurs.
right, exactly.
I'm telling y'all.
Yeah.
I was so impressed, and I
bought
loved it.
my first house by selling gift baskets for Valentine's Day. I went to the loan officer 2 weeks before Valentine's Day and asked how much do I have to have, and she told me, and I went to the Dollar Tree and bought a lot of stuff, made baskets, and came back with money and say, okay, now what I do next?
Got my deposit.
Right, I have my earnest money.
I'm
and
telling
my
you
deposit.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope the entrepreneur, the listeners are listening. That entrepreneurship, it sounds like a great word. It sounds fancy. It's a lot of work. Even doing this show, and Jay can tell you, when I came to do this thing, I was saying to myself, am I really ready? Y'all, it ain't no joke.
Right.
But because I'm passionate about it, I believe that I can make the next step and do whatever. You run and you do it.
Let me say this, Cherry. The best advice we can give to any entrepreneur is think of a horse. Put blinders on your eyes. Do not look right. Do not look left. Just look straight ahead. And also just speak whatever it is that you want, and it will come. To me, in my mind, making money is easy. Because if I thought that it's hard, if I think that making money is hard, it's going to be hard. But making money is easy. I mean, and I just freak myself out sometimes, because I literally say that in business come. I'm on this whole thing, this challenge with home ownership 2018, one of 44. Will you be one of 44 homeowners that I helped get into a home?
Right.
And I believe that.
Life is the state of mind. You are what you think you are.
Right.
If you think you can, you
will.
will. If you think you can't, you
probably
won't.
right. You're probably
But
right.
I want y'all to understand, they're saying this, but you're working. You got to get in the trenches. You're going to sweat. You're going to cry. You're going to be mad. You're going to be happy. But the thing is, you got to be willing to get in, roll those sleeves in, get them elbows dirty, and make it work. We used to call it dirty foot back in the day. You got to have that dirty foot and get out there and work. But some of y'all want this microwave society, and you want to make it happen quick. Good things don't happen quick. They don't. You got to work at whatever it is you want to get to and make it happen. But you got to see that vision. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to make it want to work. If you don't do that, then you're not going to make it.
Everybody successful lays a blueprint out. You laid the blueprint out. I stayed true to my dreams, and by doing that, eventually it came true.
A lot of times, it's like in life, right? Life brings like drama, and you got to deal with this person, and then funky relationship here, and all these things. You try and just kind of balance them out as best I can.
Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do.
Unleash your beast. Write your history.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Viola Davis. Did you know that 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger? Growing up, I was one of those kids. But we can solve this. When we make breakfast happen for kids in our neighborhood, we have the power to end childhood hunger. Create bigger, brighter school days and healthier minds and bodies. Go to hungeris.org and lend your time or your voice.
We're hungry for more.
A message from the Albertsons Companies Foundation and the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. If you're just joining us, we're talking about business and entrepreneurship. I got Ty Copeland in the house and Jay Wesley, and they have been awesome telling you the do's and don'ts, their struggles to where they have got to. Tenika says that failure has to be sexy. It has to look sexy, and I totally agree with that. You got to be sexy about when you're falling down, because you don't know who's going to be down there to catch you. And what I mean by that is you don't know when your next big break is coming.
And also, what I understand when she's saying sexy is fake it till you make it.
Right.
You know.
My mother used to say you can have two pennies in your pocket and look like $1 million, but don't nobody got to know that you only got 2 pennies, because baby,
act like you belong.
That's right. People want to do business with people that look like success. So you have to look the part and give that image off that you are somebody, that you do have wealth or money, because people want to be part of that.
Right.
Whether it's to be on your team or to do business with.
Yep, Ted Bear says, so true, Cherry, because it's definitely worth the reward. Success is the key. Everything else will fall into place. Stay focused on the path with double blinders on both eyes.
Right.
He's
but
right.
you have people around here walking around looking like a nightmare trying to sell a dream.
Right. Oh, yeah. You can't.
How you going to be a life coach and you ain't got your life together?
Right. But you look like a nightmare, but you're trying to tell me.
And you know what? And that, I'm glad that you guys said that, because a lot of people, you got to have a purpose of what your business is going to be.
Right.
You got to have a purpose. Okay? You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a fitness coach. And you don't even look like you stepped in a gym. You out of breath when you're coming up steps, or you smoking a 12-pack of cigarettes, and every time somebody see you got a 40 ounce in your hand. Do they still carry 40s?
I don't
know.
It's been so long. I've been in those.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
You have to live it.
You got to live it, and you got to really want to get in there and work and research, folks. Research.
Yes. It's free.
Because yes,
Google,
I was getting ready. Google
YouTube
is
University.
you got a phone, and that's your
PhD.
what? It's your best friend. You know, and I notice that some people that they don't like multi-level marketing. Let me tell you something about multi-level marketing. If you get into the right one, if you research it and study, that could be a stepping stone for you. You don't have to stand there, because I know people who made good money.
No, I'm glad you brought it up.
Right.
Because guess what? I wanted my girls to go to private school. So I got into MLM, and I was able to pay private school tuition, not for one child, but two.
Right.
And just use the money that I made from multi-level marketing.
Well, so I'm saying, so don't kick a gift horse in the mouth. Study and research for yourself. Don't listen to what everybody else is saying. Study and research for yourself. And support.
I'm taking over this territory. From now on, it's mine.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you gonna do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me. Whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bath water to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe, but are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. That's safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
This is big business. This is the American way. Station Network. See ya.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. We are talking about business and entrepreneurship. If you're an entrepreneur or if you're just a worker. If you're listening to us on Facebook, go ahead and type your comments in the comment section and we'll read them out on air and we'll discuss it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn and you want to be a part of the conversation, you can text or call 678-613-5857. My guests, Ty and Jay Wesley, have been awesome. We have been talking about entrepreneurship, the do's and don'ts, their woes, and how they keep going. Jay talked about losing $250,000 in a restaurant, and then you said you lost that restaurant. You said what you weren't going to do?
I wasn't going back to entrepreneurship at all, but here I am.
Okay, so you
Bit
left.
by the bug.
Look, yep, you left, went to go work for somebody, right?
Yeah, went to work for Coca-Cola in Texas.
And then said, wait a minute, this ain't working out.
Yep. And so, and part of that drive, too, was that once losing the restaurant, I really wanted to go work in the spirits world for a liquor manufacturer, Diageo, Pernod Ricard. There's many others, Brown Foreman. Applied for over like 500 jobs. Wow. Kid you not, I have them all printed. Should have brought them today. But no one would hire me. Now, here it is. I've been a bartender for 15 years. I've worked in corporate America for L'Oreal, managing a $5 million budget for luxury hair care. I've owned a bar, master's degrees, and I still could not get a job in the spirits world. And so it forced me to Texas, to Coca-Cola, take a position with them. But how Ty was saying earlier, I wanted to prove them wrong. Like, you know what? You wouldn't hire me, but I'm going to pave my own way. I'm going to be a trailblazer, as you mentioned earlier, and I'm going to find my way in this spirits world. And what I've chose to do is, which I encourage everyone to do, is find your passion. Right. Because if you can find your passion, take that hobby and turn it into a job.
A skill. I mean, look, you wanted in spirits, now you have a radio show.
Exactly.
You're doing big things.
Exactly. So I took all my passions, which are journalism, the spirits world, and marketing. Those are the three things I'm most passionate about, and I merged them together, and thus I have Cocktail Chronicles and doing better than I would have if I stayed at Coca-Cola in Texas.
Wow. Exactly. And, Ted Bear says, my motto in life is where there's a will, there's a way. By all means necessary, and I mean always be humble and never content. And that's true. Never content. Don't become lazy and complacent, because that can truly happen, and you don't want to be there.
That's true.
And what I like about, now, I'm telling you, I'm going to have them tell you how to follow them. When I say this girl could do everything, I've seen her do baby showers, look.
Please don't put that out there.
Listen, she don't do it. She did it for her kids. But when I tell you, I was over there, I couldn't even put glitter on the bottle right. I'm just trying to say she's very good at what she does, because she fosters whatever's on the inside, she does it. Jay, I mean, who would have thought of making a radio show about how to drink responsibly?
Wow.
It's the first time I've ever heard anything about it. And I applaud you for taking your passion, both of you,
Thank you.
and doing that and educating people along the way. I mean, you guys, I always say you never know who you're encouraging. And anytime I have those days, she'll tell you, I used to call her or I just send her a message to say, I don't know why you popped up on my screen, but thank you. I need to hear it, because she will say something that will spark in the cherry. Don't give up. Keep going. You know, so even coming to where the journey I am now, and like I said, we've been riding and dying for 15 years, and she's seen this journey for me.
But I've always told you, you're better than that.
And I tell you what, when I had my stroke in October of 2016, that was the eye opener. That was my wake up. That was my wake up call. And
life is short.
I had no income coming in, nothing coming in, and what was I going to do? When I was able to get back to talking and walking and doing what I could do, I called Miss Tenika and I said, it's time. And I haven't looked back since.
And sometimes you have to reinvent yourself as an
Yes.
entrepreneur or small business, because not every business is going to be successful.
That's
I had
true.
a trucking business one time and bought the 2 trucks, hired some guys that I didn't even know, and I ended up losing that business. And in real estate, I was doing a lot of real estate and lost all my properties when it crashed in 2008. So then you have to look back and you internally and say, what can I do? What are my skill sets? Reinventing yourself is not always a bad thing.
You know, and that's what I had to do. And both of them have said something, guys, that they said, know your passion, know what you're trying to get into. Multi-level marketing isn't always bad, but research it. Don't believe every hype that comes to you. And guys, if you know you can't speak,
don't be a speaker.
Don't be a speaker. Don't be out there trying to be a motivational speaker, or even learn the skill first. Take a class.
And let me tell you this. We talked about MLM. I'm not an MLM person, right? My dad was, but he was a school teacher too. But I tell people, if you want to do MLM, go ahead and do it, because you know why? Even if you're working in a regular job, you be in corporate America, do an MLM, because you can write off those expenses on your personal taxes.
That's right.
If you set your LLC up as a single member LLC, you can write all of that off. And so now, guess what? You're getting more money back into your pocket with the tax time.
But and that's all about the education piece. And while we're talking about the education piece, go ahead and give them the information for the show.
All right, so
the
workshop. All right, so Alan Reed Enterprises, which is me, Alleviate Inc., which is Cherry, we're having our small business workshop called Power Up next Wednesday. And that workshop is going to be from 11 to 1 on Lunch and Learn, and where we are going to give you guys tips. We're going to have panelists and experts in their field, business and personal credit, insurance. ADP is going to be talking about small business payroll. We've got BB&T Bank as our sponsor. They're going to be talking about small business lending. We're going to talk about how to get access to capital. We're going to be talking about if you want to get into the public sector, federal, state, local government. So we've got experts in their field next Wednesday, 11 to 1 at the Queen Building. We want you guys to register. Go to Eventbrite and look up Power Up. And we really want you guys to get this knowledge and this education, because it may jumpstart you to your next level.
And it's a good thing, because like we said, we have some powerhouses in here today, guys. And I'm going to have Jay tell them how they can reach you, your show, and anything that you're doing that's coming up for our listeners.
All right, excellent. Well, be sure to tune in every Tuesday right here on the Sensation Station Network from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My show talks all about cocktails, responsibility, how to socialize and navigate through different social settings regarding alcohol. You can find me at Cocktail Chron, the number 1. Chron is short for Chronicles, so it's CHRON. Once again, at Cocktail Chron, the number 1.
And Miss Ty.
All right. My name is Tenika Copeland on Facebook and on Instagram. And I also can be found as the Money Credit Chick. You really want to follow the Money Credit Chick, because that's where you will get a wealth of information on how to repair your own credit, information, the difference between a whole life policy and a term life policy, real estate, what is earnest money, who is Ernest, who said I had to give him my money, so a lot of stuff. And that was a post that I did just the other day. So on there, I will show you and teach you a lot of things as it pertains to my company, which is Family Life Legacy. How will you leave your legacy? That's our tagline. How will you leave your legacy? So the Money Credit Chick is all about trying to help you build wealth.
And I like
tell
that.
Everybody to go to Destiny Talk Live's page and Alan Reed Enterprises page for the workshop.
Yes, I was going to, So he said that on the air. You heard him, right? He's like, Cherry, tell them, but they heard you.
I don't want it always to come from me. That's why I work with women. I want the women to be out there up front.
I wasn't going to call you out like that, but it was too funny. I had to do it. So, but what I want to say to you guys is we've been talking about business and entrepreneurship. These guys have been here today for this 2 hours to talk to you on how to break through barriers, generational curses, family dynamics that keep you from going anywhere, or even your personal mess. Take an inventory of you. I always say, check you out first. Look in the mirror, talk to that person in it. If you can't answer or can't hold a conversation with them, it's time to get yourself in order first before you start your next journey. My question to my viewers and my listeners all the time is, what type of legacy do you want to leave? Do you want to leave one of destruction, or you want to leave one of progress, one that's going to be powerful? I always tell people, and I learned this from a lawyer friend of mine, Will Adams. He said, do you want the pain of discipline or the pain of regret? I promise you guys, you don't want the pain of regret, because it'll cost you. Now, guys, if you had one tip that you want to leave our listeners and give them, tell them what they could do to move forward. Jay, we'll start with you.
It's easy. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. I know that sounds so cliche, but if you have a vision, you can make it happen. Anything is definitely possible with hard work.
He said hard work, guys. Not put it in the microwave and it's going to turn over. It's hard work. What would you say to them about teamwork?
Support others, because when you put that energy out there in the universe of helping others and maybe helping their dream materialize, it'll come back to you. So invest in someone else's business. And when I say invest, not necessarily money, but it could be time, it could be encouragement, it could be just being a leaning post for them when they're going through hard times, and that'll manifest through you in some other way or another.
Okay, same thing for you, Miss Ty.
Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision, make it plain. And you have to make sure that you have what is written is real. So if you write it, you can see it, you can believe it, and you can achieve it. And not only that, the last thing, please take out the trash, clear the clutter. Because if you say something that might sound too big to somebody else, say something intentionally that's just far out, just to watch how a person either respond or how they might look. So that's how you take assessment of the people in your life, and you just have to figure out where to put them.
People are dream killers.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you're not going to be able to do that.
They don't even try to be.
Right. But that's all that they know.
Right.
So that's why you don't necessarily get rid of them. Just place them in another category.
Know who's in your circle.
Right.
That's part of that clutter you talked about.
You got to be in it, and I like what you guys are saying. You got to have a discerning spirit. You got to know you got to take ownership of you. You got to be bold about what you're doing and unapologetic about any move or anything that you're ever making or taking in life. John, real quick, one thing that you would tell the listeners.
Come up with a plan. Write that plan down, and then surround yourself with people who are smarter than you are.
They say teamwork makes the dream work, and that's what we have here is a team. We are constantly out here every week, between Jay, between Tenika, between John. We're trying to get you guys to understand that you are somebody. You can achieve and reach any goal you set in your life, and we're here to help you get those skill sets to do just that. So again, teamwork makes the dream work. If you want to know more about these people, go ahead to Destiny Talk Live, our Facebook page. We'll have their information out there, and I want to say thank you again for sharing your time with us today, and you were listening to Destiny Talk Live.